Hi everyone, I'm Troy from Complete Health Geelong. I'm a psychotherapist. And if you're watching this video right now, you're probably hurting, and hurting a lot. You've probably been Googling what's narcissism, what's borderline personality disorder. You've probably asked yourself, am I a narcissist? You're probably very confused. You feel betrayed. You're extremely hurt. You're in a lot of pain. You're isolated. I could go on. My goal here is to teach you things that I wish I had have known when I went through what you're going through now. You're probably questioning your reality. Did this really happen to me? Is this really a thing? Am I crazy? Unfortunately, it is really happening. No, you're not crazy. If you're watching this, you're not a narcissist. And I'm going to really do a broad view on it, so you can understand where you're at right now and why you're feeling the way you do, why your brain is trying to process all this stuff. There's going to be a lot of things going on, so I'm going to try and cover a lot of stuff in this video in a short amount of time. And it's all stuff I wish I had been told when I was going through it. So we'll start. So at the moment, all the confusion and everything like that is built because of, say, gaslighting, black and white thinking, and these are all terms that I'll break down over time, but for now I just want to talk about how it got you to feeling like you are now. Because breaking up with a narcissist, whether you discarded them or they discarded you, the pain is the same. It's the most painful experience ever, and it's actually been proven to be the most painful experience ever. That's why it's hurting you so much right now. It's equivalent to sort of coming off a heroin addiction, because it is an addiction. It is a full-blown addiction, and I'll show you why. So the black and white thinking and the highs and lows of the relationship, you've probably said this many a time, you know, the highs are worth the lows. I know I said it. The fact is it's not, and that's not how a relationship's supposed to be. The narcissist or borderline does these things to create the highs and lows in your brain. So if you think about, just as an easy example, that's not how it works, but an easy example. So you're getting these highs and lows, and this is creating a dopamine, cortisol release in your brain. The same as what doing a line of coke would, same as what doing a line of speed or ice or whatever the drug of choice is. It does the exact same thing. So it's not love, I'm sorry to say, it's an addiction. And that's how it should be looked at. So when right now there's cortisol dumping into your body, and what you're used to is the narcissist being there for you and gaslighting you and manipulating you into making you think that they're the ones who make you feel good. So same as when you do that line of coke, after an hour you want another line of coke because the high drops, so you want to get back to that high. What got you back to that high? The narcissist. And that's exactly how it works. And all this black and white thinking is sort of catching, basically. So what happens to your brain? I'll show you. So this is your brain. You've got the left side and the right side, and you've got all these little things that run down here that are bridges. And so you've got irrational side, rational side. So with all the gaslighting, you're trying to get your thinking to go like this. It's like a metronome, like on a, to keep the beat, to keep the music. So when you're usually thinking, it's going like this. It's just ticking over and finding the middle, or the mind's eye in mindfulness. It's trying to find that, what's right, the reality. So you're probably stuck in either one side. It's not ticking over anymore. All these bridges here have been burnt out. So now you're sort of thinking like them. So you're thinking in catastrophic terms. So everything's all good, everything's all bad. Life's really shit, life's really good. You're having all these really emotional up and downs because you're getting stuck in one side or the other. And that's part of this chemical addiction. So you get stuck in one side, boom, cortisol. Next minute, you want the dopamine hit. So what gives you the dopamine hit? They do. So your brain doesn't want to feel that pain anymore. It just doesn't want to. So as a coping mechanism, it's making you think you're missing them, because when you miss them, that gives you that little bit of dopamine hit again. So our goal is to build them bridges back. There's another thing that those bridges do. They're your sense of self. It's called the Mohawk line. So it sits across here, and when you're ticking to and from, well, you've got a good sense of who you are. This is everything that makes you. So now you're feeling lost as well. You don't know who you are. Who am I? You'll be asking yourself. I feel extremely lost. And these are all things I ask myself, and this is why they do what they do. Because a malignant narcissist will know this. Yeah, so another thing that happens is we've got this stress curve. So what happens is you're sitting here, this is the comfort zone. This is the low comfort zone. This is just cruise mode, absolute cruise mode, which is probably what you're doing in a relationship, just waiting for them highs and lows. So what happens is, well, this is where you think you are. Where you actually are is here, stressing. You're out of your comfort zone all the time. You're always waiting for that lion to jump out behind the tree. The same as how they'll always make you feel good for a while, then boom, they'll do something to really upset you. So you're always actually here, stressing. And then the catalyst, what happens is, you'll break up with the narcissist, they'll break up with you. Boom, you come down here. It's similar to that of like a nervous breakdown. Because what happens is you've been strong for too long. So you've been strong for too long. So that's gotten you back to here, to where you are. So now you're getting stuck in the left or the right side of the brain, plus you've come down into this, essentially a nervous breakdown. You've got this thing going on called cognitive dissonance. Again, I'll break that down in later videos. But if you think of it like I showed you on the brain, it's not exactly how it works, but it's a good visual for you to think about it. So you're probably asking yourself, how can this person that was everything that I wanted, that was the perfect match for me, also be this evil person? The thing with the cognitive dissonance is you can't put the two together. So they're either one or the other. They're either black or they're white. So that just causes massive confusion. So where you are now, you have to breathe deep. Which reality are you in right now? Are you in this one? Or are you in the one where they future faked and fake this whole future life with you? Again, I'll cover that in another video. You're in this reality. The sooner you accept where you are now, the sooner you'll get over it. And when people say just get over it, I just said that as a figure of speech because it's very, very, very difficult to do. You're probably sitting there thinking now this pain's never, ever going to end. If somebody had told me that it would end, I wouldn't believe them. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that. But it does get a lot better. It does take a lot of work. It takes conscious work. You can't just coast with this. You can't just isolate yourself and hope it'll go away. Knowledge is power. And you've probably watched 1,000 of these videos already to come across mine. And you've probably read a dozen books. You've probably searched the internet One of the other questions you'll probably be asking is, are they a narcissist? Are they a borderline? Are they antisocial? Are they a psychopath? The answer is yes. It doesn't matter which one they are. Abuse is abuse. You're going to get stuck trying to work it out because of hope. Hope's going to have you stuck in thinking like this until you don't hope anymore. Hope's the killer, because maybe if they've got borderline and they're not a narcissist, I can help them. You can't. You can help you. You can't help them. People want to change when they want to change, when the suffering is enough. So I always say, have you suffered enough? The only way to get through this is no contact or grey rock. Again, I'll cover them later on. But for now, if you have just broken up with them and you're going through those things that I showed you, you have to show yourself some compassion. You have to learn to love yourself. You have to learn things about boundaries, being assertive, being healthy, complex trauma, codependency. These are all things that I'm going to cover. You need to rebuild your self-worth. The big upside here is it does end up becoming a gift. I guarantee you that if you do the work, it does become a gift. All the things that you didn't like about yourself before, or didn't know you didn't like about yourself, is now you get to rebuild them. You've been brought down to the foundational level of you. Before, your foundations were built on shoddy things from your childhood. If you've got a shoddy foundation, you're going to have a shoddy house. You're back to foundation level. But now you get to rebuild yourself into whatever house you want with good, strong, solid foundations. You get to work on all your limiting beliefs. You get to work on all your core values. There is so much work here to do, but you'll do it if you want to heal. And it's the only way to heal. At the start, knowledge is power. You have to learn about narcissism to learn how to match those two people together, to work out how pathologically sick they are. How could somebody do this to you? During this process, you'll learn that it wasn't just them. I'm sorry to say that too. That's a hard pill to swallow. The difference is you can heal, they can't. Well, won't is more like it. Because they can if they choose. Don't let anyone tell you different. What can be learned can be unlearned. And this is all childhood stuff being brought in to your relationships now. So you're probably isolating. If you're isolating now, people say, don't do that. Be very wary of that. You have to. You have to for a certain amount of time. It's your safe zone. You don't feel safe anywhere right now. You've probably got anxiety like you've never had it before. You've probably got depression like you've never had it before. With that stress curve, you will learn to stay in the comfort zone all the time. You will learn to push out of that comfort zone all the time and better yourself. That will become an amazing drive for you. If you concentrate on bettering yourself, that becomes a great addiction. You know, it's swapping addiction for an addiction is never a good thing, but in this case, it's a good thing. So you just got to keep pushing and pushing yourself. But you've also got to allow yourself to do nothing. You have to sit with your feelings. Then they're probably going to be feelings that you've never felt before. A lot of us codependents, we have suppressed emotions. That's why these emotions that you're feeling right now are feeling so intense. You've probably never really felt them before. This is like an awakening, a becoming of consciousness, to sound, like a bit of philosophy in there. But it's actually sort of what it is. It's snapping you out of all those bad coping mechanisms that you've had. Those addictions to food, the addictions to drugs, the addictions to alcohol, the addictions to people. If you look back in your life, you've probably dated all the same people just with a different name. There's a reason for that. But be compassionate to yourself and start loving yourself. Take the time to sit in it, to feel it. But don't sit too long. If you sit too long, it's going to turn into depression, and the longer you sit, the harder it is going to be to come out. So make sure you're still doing little accomplishments. Even if you're getting up and showering, even if you're getting up and washing the dishes, tell yourself, oh, wash the fuck out of those dishes. Like, you know, praise yourself. You got to talk to that inner child. You've got to be the parent to you that you wish you had have had. Think of yourself as a 3 or 4 year old. How would you talk to yourself now? Would you say, you're an idiot for getting yourself into this position? How could you let this happen? Or would you kneel down and say, we're going to get through this. We can do this together. It is going to be all right. Because it is. And that's how you're going to have to start talking to yourself now. You're going to have intrusive thoughts. These thoughts will be painful. You won't be able to stop them. Don't fight them. Fighting them only makes them come back with a vengeance. The best thing to do is think of them as a cloud. Let them come in, name it, or let them go. Don't follow that. So I'm pretty much going to wrap this up now. I'll be breaking all the terminology and the certain aspects down over other videos. I'll be going into a lot of different stuff. But I just wanted to give you a brief overview of where you are now and why you're hurting so much. Yeah, like my Instagram page, my Facebook. If you want an appointment with me, you can do it on there. I hope this helps.